say you had another story that you wanted to share.
I was working on a pizza counter and this lady came in and she wasn't speaking, she was mute. And she like handed me her phone with like everything that she wanted on it. And I just panicked. So I'm looking at this phone for a order and I'm going, do you want tomato? How about some cheese? And she was so nice and so friendly, and it was only about like 2 minutes into making this order that I was just like, what's you doing? She's not deaf. You know, she can hear you perfectly, she can understand you perfectly, she is not intellectually struggling to understand what's going on here. Why are you miming everything that you're doing? And I just felt so stupid after that. I was like, this is just the silliest thing ever. It's like, just because somebody isn't speaking to you doesn't mean that they're not understanding what's going on and things. I think sometimes people just panic when they're put in a situation where they may be facing a disability that they're not too familiar with, or they've maybe not had much real life experience with.
I used to do the same thing. You know, you think because one sense is they've got less of one sense, it seems that they maybe struggle with the other sense.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I was shocked that when I heard about deaf-blind people or deaf-mute people, and it's like, why am I shocked when my automatic reaction is to speak louder or to, you know, that kind of thing? And it, I found out it actually makes it a lot harder for lip readers if someone's deaf. If you change the way you speak, it actually makes it harder for them.
Yeah, if you're kind of exaggerating what you're saying and not speaking at normal pace and normal volume, then they're probably thinking, what on earth are you talking about?
Yeah, I think that's quite a common thing. Yeah, it's quite strange. I think even to this day, like, I think there's been a couple of times where I've just automatically done it, like if I'm not thinking and I'm like, oh no, whoops. You know, it's such an easy thing to do.
See, the thing as well, I think there's a general tendency to think that people with disabilities want to be fixed or are looking for a solution as well. And it's not always the case. They may be totally happy with the way that they are, or, you know, have maybe heard about the different things that are available to them and don't want to take the risks. You know, like in the case of like deaf people and that, they may be totally embracing deaf culture and don't want to hear.
That's really interesting you should say that. I had this conversation the other day at my course. We were talking about how being in recovery for mental health and that kind of thing. And there's a few of us at the course who are still going through the recovery process, and at the same time, when you feel yourself like you're having more happy episodes and you're not so down and that kind of thing, there's then this fear, almost like, whoa, where's the sadness? Something's wrong here. And it's almost like you, like not on purposely, but your subconscious gets you to be sad. It's almost like you look for a reason to be sad.
So it's almost like you're sabotaging yourself.
Almost, yeah. And it's they still don't know why it's done this. They think it's because for people who are long-term sufferers, they've been sad for so long that that's their go-to, their comfort.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing if they're sad, but to have this content, happy-go-lucky, it's like really strange and really foreign. Like, and I do struggle with that. Sometimes I'll be like. One of the antidepressants they tried me on, anti-anxiety. It was meant to stop anxiety. I was on the bus on the way back, all the school children got on, which would normally trigger a panic attack, and it didn't. And I just felt fine. That in itself triggered a panic attack because I panicked thinking that the pills had stopped me from feeling. So I thought that's what was happening, which caused a panic attack. So it worked, but at the same time, my own
So you had this panic attack where you're like, I'm feeling fine.
Essentially, yeah. And I told the doctor, and he was like, are you serious? It's like, I swear to God. And he was like, what are we going to do with you? I was like, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I suppose that's something you need to kind of get used to, though, definitely.
Yeah.
It's like, just because you feel fine doesn't mean you're cured as well. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's almost like because things have been going well, you're just waiting for that big problem to come up. Something that's just going to crash and burn if you get too comfortable being happy. Do you reckon that disability and mental health are treated much better nowadays? How far do you think we've come in the past, even just the past 5-10 years? Like, because obviously over the past 50 years, it's insane how much. But over the past 5-10 years, a lot of people are saying there's been a lull in the awareness. But I don't know if it's whether how deeply involved you are with it. I see there's been quite a lot, but then a lot of people don't see that. So
I mean, I feel like as a society we're more aware of the different ways that disability can present itself and the different ways that mental health issues can impact your life and things. I suppose maybe less with mental health issues and things, but it's like there's a supermarket that has now put stickers on the door of the disabled toilets that say, sometimes you can't see disability. It's something like that. Not all disabilities are visible, I think it says. And that's kind of acknowledging that there are people who might want to use that toilet who maybe don't have crutches with them, maybe aren't in a wheelchair, maybe are walking just fine, but it's still okay for them to use it, and people shouldn't be giving them funny looks or being weird with them because they're going into there as opposed to the regular cubicles. So I suppose in that sense of things, and even there's like shops that now have special hours where they turn off all the music and they, you know, it's quite a calm atmosphere for people who've maybe have autism and stuff, you know, so that they can shop and stuff without having the same anxiety that they maybe have at other times of the day and stuff. So I suppose in the way of those sorts of things, it's like baby steps towards being more accepting, and it's trying to accommodate everybody instead of just what they think the mass majority needs, I suppose.
That's really good. I've not seen that. So I think someone told me about the toilets one, but I think that's absolutely brilliant. I've not come across it, but
yeah, it's like across the road.
I'll need to nip in there afterwards and have a nosy.
Yeah, we'll get like a cutaway shot. But yeah, I suppose in that way of things, it is trying to be more accepting and trying to open their eyes to the different ways that disability and mental health issues can present themselves. But I still feel like there's a lot of things we could be doing.
Well, thank you so much for doing this with me.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
So like I say, there will be a link in the cards again here, and there will be a link in the description to Kate's Adventures. Go and check her out. She's absolutely fantastic. And thank you. And as always, I will see you in the next video next Wednesday. Bye bye.
Cheerio.